I'm Alan Robarge, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. I like to talk about attachment injuries and healing attachment trauma. And this video is about not good enough, feeling that you're not good enough. And it's a part of a series, a brainstorming approach to healing and healing processes. And I'm thinking of it in terms of healing work that works. And what does it mean to walk a path of self-directed healing? I'm a very big fan of self-directed healing. I promote self-directed healing. And this means you dropping into your wisdom self, your healer self, your intuitive self, and really assessing, what do you need? And what can you do to walk a path, to begin to collect, to gather, to let in resource, to identify where there isn't resource, and really seriously commit to doing healing work that works. And this video is about not good enough and how we over-identify with feeling states, years and years of not good enough, which is a belief, and usually the feeling state is shame. If I'm not good enough, I have shame. I'm fundamentally flawed as a human being. There's something wrong with me. I don't deserve to be me. I'm just not good enough. And I'm second rate, second best, on the back burner, needing to deny myself. So all of that, if we summarize that, is this saying, I'm not good enough, you're not good enough. At some point, after years and years of collecting evidence, whether it's true or not true, and having the difficult feeling states in your body, the difficult feeling of shame, we cross a line. Something happens internally where we over-identify and I become not good enough. You become not good enough. It's who you are now. It's your identity. It's not just a feeling, it's who you are. And think of it as looking at the world through the lens of not good enough. It's like instead of rose-colored glasses, now you have not good enough glasses. And this, we orient, we start to be selective about how we tell ourselves the story of ourselves in the world. We start to be selective about noticing things around us that is going to be more evidence to reinforce and uphold our orientation of how we see ourselves, the belief of ourselves that we are not good enough, you are not good enough. So healing work takes place in stages and in chapters, and I refer to them as stages of transformation. And if you step back and think about where you're at in this process, you might not be ready yet to say goodbye to this self that's over-identified with being not good enough. It's a little advanced, because in order to get there first, you actually move into the feeling. You got to feel not good. You got to feel the shame. You got to piece together the difficult puzzle pieces of the history, the memory fragments, the narrative, the denial, come out of denial, the family history, your relationship history, the lies that you've been telling yourself, about how you're not good enough. And isn't that a fascinating, challenging thing? That this reality that you think is so real and true and concrete and solid and absolute is actually a story that you've been telling yourself, reinforced by difficult feelings that you assume is the only way to be not good enough. And this video is about, in your healing work, in your healing process, you will come to a stage, a time, when you're going to say goodbye to being not good enough. And that is a self. You're going to say goodbye to yourself. And this question, the next question, is rhetorical. You don't even have to answer. It's a meditation. It's a contemplative question. Who are you going to be if you're not showing up in this world as not good enough? Who are you going to be then? Usually that is a frightening question because it invites groundlessness. It's a very, oh shit, I don't know who I'm going to be. There is some security and safety in tethering ourselves to our limitation. It boxes us in. It boxes us in. It shuts us down. It turns down the light, dim the light. Don't be too much, don't be more. But there's a conflict here if you really are on a path of self-directed healing. If you value being committed to growth and maturing and personal growth because you have no choice, the suffering is too much, and you value waking up, and you value before you die, you want to experience different kinds of relationships, that at some point you're going to come in, you're going to be confronted with how you have solidified a sense of self and an identity around not good enough. Let's think of this as a raft to the other shore. We follow a healing path based upon our own suffering, and we go, the phrase is you move through it. You move in it, you move through it, you sit with it, and it gives you direction. It gives you insight. So go this way, go this way, go this way. And you just go on the journey. You go on, in many ways, it's a kind of mythological journey because you're being confronted with a lot of symbolic life questions and challenges, trials and tribulations, all around maneuvering with being a human being, experiencing impossible suffering. And that's what it feels like when you're really sitting, looking at, feeling crushed by the toxicity of shame and the toxicity of the belief, I'm not good enough. So we build a raft and we use our suffering to help create some movement to move through the suffering. And this is like a raft that's going to get us to the other shore. Well, what happens when you get to the other shore? Do you drag the raft around with you as you walk, as you go hiking? You don't. You leave the raft at the shore. And in this case, what we're talking about, you leave your sense of self at the shore. You say goodbye to who you thought you once were. Your good friend, not good enough self. All those years, not good enough self. All those times that you spent, that you were late night hours having conversation, not good enough self is your friend. I often make a joke about it when I'm with clients of, imagine we have a photo album and say, well, look, here's not good enough self. You and not good enough self went on a picnic. And, oh, look, here's that time you went on vacation to Vegas. And remember you said that one thing, you put your foot in your mouth and you felt like an idiot all night. Not good enough self is at the end of the other shore. And it's time to look at not good enough self and say, I don't need you anymore the way I once did. And it's painful and sad to say goodbye to you because you're me and I'm you and I love you. And in a way, you've been my friend and helpful, but you also been hurtful and there's too much limitation here. And I have got to say goodbye to you. That's what healing work is all about. And when we do, we open ourselves up to possibility, and the resource of what's on the other side. Once we start hiking away from the river is possibility, spaciousness, creativity, experiencing adventure, joy, letting in some joy. But if you are desperately grasping onto only seeing the world and your sense of self through the lens of being the not good enough self, you are going to stay circling, cycling, marinating, ruminating in this place, and it's very smoke and mirrors. You think that's reality. There are other realities. You can pop out of that. You can get to the other shore and start experiencing yourself as a different kind of self. You don't have to be the not good enough self. This content that I'm sharing, the self-directed healing, this is the foundational approach or the foundational principle of the 8-week program I have created called Improve Your Relationships. There is a membership community of people just like you who value talking about this shit and who want to change relationships, want to change these old patterns and want to change their sense of self. And in order to do that, we commit to a plan guided by your self-directed healing. Within the community, there's an 8-week program that's reoccurring, weekly discussion topics, weekly activities. There's some resources, handouts, different worksheets to work on, as well as 180 videos as resource videos that you can watch and share and talk about. But it all comes back to making a commitment. Are you on the path of self-directed healing? And are you able to connect with other like-minded people who are equally committed to wanting to learn something new, to change, to experiment with letting in some new skills in order for their relationships to thrive and not repeat the same old relationship patterns that they always had? And sometimes a component of that, a grief aspect of that, is saying goodbye to your sense of self as you know yourself to be. If this interests you, if you'd like to join, learn more about the program of other kind, supportive members that help each other out, please learn more at alanrobarge.com/community. And if you like this video, stay tuned. Some more videos along the same lines, brainstorming, exploring this idea of healing work that works. Thank you for watching.